JBNN keep you informed. I'm Michelle Jones, and in the news, brothers killed, execution cell in St. James, house set on fire. A 16-year-old boy and his 22-year-old brother were killed, execution cell in Long Bay, St. James, and had their home set on fire last night. The incident is being probed by the Area 1 Major Investigation Division under the Barrytown Police. The deceased are Neo Samuels, 16, who was a student at St. James High School, and Gregory Forbes, both of Wrong Turn Road in Long Bay. The police report that about 11:40 p.m., the brothers and 5 other family members were at home when armed men went to the board section of the house occupied by the siblings and kicked open the door. The men then held the brothers at gunpoint, placed them face down, and executed them. The house, which is a mix of board and concrete, was then set on fire. The structure was destroyed by the blaze. An elderly woman, a child, a teenage girl, and the 2 other family members managed to escape unhurt. They lost all their belongings in the fire. Barber gunned down in Slaggerville. The St. Catherine North Police are investigating the death of 13-year-old barber Marvin Bowley, who was killed along the War Hill Main Road in Slaggerville in the parish. Bowley, who lives in the James Mountain area, was reportedly standing with others along the roadway about 11:30 a.m. when a man armed with a handgun approached them and fired shots. Bowley ran, but was chased by the gunman, who fired several more shots. Bowley was hit and fell. His attacker ran off and boarded a waiting car. No motive has yet been established for Bowley's death. 1 dead following 2-vehicle collision in Ocherias. A man died from injuries he sustained in a motor vehicle crash on the Ocherias bypass in St. Anne on Wednesday. He has been identified as 34-year-old Orrin Atland, a chef from Salem, Runaway Bay in the parish. According to the police, around 11 p.m., Atland was driving his Honda Civic along the thoroughfare when he crashed into a Jaguar motor car traveling in the opposite direction. The police were called to the scene, and occupants of both vehicles were rushed to hospital, where Atland was pronounced dead. This brings to 219 the number of people who have been killed in fatal crashes since the start of the year. According to the Road Safety Unit, these deaths resulted from at least 201 fatal crashes. 2 men arrested for alleged car theft. The St. James police have arrested 2 men who were allegedly caught with a stolen motor car on Belgrade Avenue in Greenwood, St. James on Tuesday. The police say about 12:50 p.m., a man discovered that his motor car was stolen from his home and alerted the police. Assisted by a tracking device that was affixed to the motor car, the police team was led to an area in Greenwood in the parish where the stolen car was seen. On arrival of the police, 3 men were seen with several car parts and car accessories belonging to another vehicle which was at the location. On seeing the police, 1 of the men ran while 2 of them were arrested and taken into custody. Their identities are being withheld pending further investigation. COUHAL YAHWEH group member pleads guilty to assault. One of the persons arrested in connection with activities at the QAHAL YAHWEH religious compound in St. James has pleaded guilty to assault. Neil Spence pleaded guilty when he appeared before the St. James Parish Court on Wednesday. He is to be sentenced on August 4. Meanwhile, 13 other members of the QAHAL YAHWEH group are to return to the court on August 4 after getting extensions to their bail on Wednesday. The 13 are charged for breaches of the Child Care Protection Act and breaches of the Marriage Act. The allegations surround incidents that allegedly took place at the group's compound in Norwood, St. James. The police have indicated that other charges are pending and that there were connected matters involving other members of the church that are also expected to go before the court on August 4. The 13 are represented by attorneys Peter Champagny Casey and Samoy Campbell. Tattoo artist charged for fatal stabbing of Portland businessman. Suits on the Port Antonio Criminal Investigations Branch have arrested and charged a man for the fatal stabbing of another as he made purchases at a bookstore on Harbor Street in Port Antonio, Portland on Monday. 28-year-old Richton Rama, otherwise called Gaza, a tattoo artist of Port Antonio, is charged with the murder of 56-year-old businessman Robert Grant. The police say about 4 or 5 p.m., Grant was conducting business inside the store when he was pounced upon by Rama, who was reportedly armed with a knife. An argument reportedly developed between them and a tussle ensued. During the struggle, Rama inflicted several wounds to Grant's upper body, according to the police. The police were alerted, and on their arrival, Grant was assisted to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Quick police action led to the apprehension of Rama in the vicinity of the scene. They say a knife was also recovered and he was later charged after a question and answer interview was conducted. His court date is being finalized. Major counterfeit crackdown in Kingston. Roughly $200 million worth of counterfeit goods was on Wednesday seized from a store in the West Parade section of downtown Kingston when cops swooped in on the establishment following a formal complaint from a brand owner that fake items mimicking their products were being sold there. Victor Barrett, Assistant Superintendent of Police, who heads the Intellectual Property Rights Unit within the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Branch, confirmed the seizure and said that one foreigner had been taken into custody and will be charged with the breaches of the Trademark Act.
We are here today at 24 West Parade as part of our continued efforts to rid the street of counterfeit goods. Well, we got some information from the rights owner, the owner for the brand Nike and Puma, and then we did some workup and it led us here. And we find, as you can see, a large catch of counterfeit goods. So we have Nike, Crocs, Puma, Tommy Hilfiger, and the warehouse is upstairs. So we estimate it to be about 200 million Jamaican dollars worth of counterfeit goods. Yes. Right. Two things based on our experience in doing this operation, and secondly, the dollar value, the real price for these goods. So we look at the Crocs behind me. A Crocs probably selling for 80 to 100 US dollars. A Nike shoe might be selling for 175 US dollars. The LV bag behind us, probably $700 US dollars. I'm talking about. So when you quantify that, then it brings to the value I'm talking about. So it's not a figure that I dreamt about. You understand me? It's based on estimates, and as I use the word, it's estimated to be about $200 million. You know, right? So it's not a CTAG issue; it's a Jamaican issue. So we have a legislation that speaks to breach of the Trademark Act. So if you use a brand without authorization, it's a breach of the trademark. And by our domestic legislation, we have an authority to act. For our own country, it is good for us to rid the streets because you don't want Jamaica to be seen as a dumping ground for counterfeit goods. There are issues relating to money laundering, human trafficking, organized crime. So we have a duty under the law to act, to protect our citizens. And most importantly, the public health concerns. So our dear fellow countrymen who buy these products, we don't know what kind of chemicals they put into making these shoes. Some of them might not be fit for human consumption. So we are protecting our citizens. And so one person is taken into custody and he will be arrested and charged and put before the court for breach of the Trademark Act. Well, in its current dispensation, the law speaks to a fine of up to $1 million or 12 months imprisonment. So that's the law. But in my own right, I think that based on the magnitude of the trade, I think as a deterrent, they could increase the penalty. The notion is that it's a eat a food mentality, and people trying to survive. But as I always stated, somewhere in the world, some little boys or girls might be trafficked to produce these items. So elements of human trafficking or forced labor might be a component of producing these items. I mentioned that the public health concerns. You don't know the component, the dye. We're in a tropical country with the heat, right? So they might use dye in the shoes or the clothing, and you put it on and sweat to go in your bloodstream, and then you have some ailment. So for public health concern, and also along the lines of taxes. So I would say to persons who want to engage in this type of activities, channel your energy elsewhere. You could also reach out to the brands and become a distributor and legitimize your operation,
This latest seizure brings the value of fake brands removed from the streets since the start of 2023 to more than $500 million. They were confiscated during 6 major raids in different hotspots, including downtown and halfway tree. Reckless PPV drivers should not be allowed to switch owners easily, says Vaz. Minister of Transport Darrell Vaz says drivers of public passenger vehicles, PPV, who commit serious infractions that leave owners in trouble should not be allowed to easily get another vehicle to operate. The driver cannot cause a problem and then leave the owner of the vehicle with the problem and migrate to another PPV vehicle because he should not be allowed to migrate. Technology should allow us to be able to track that very easily to be sure that the situation that obtains now with all those hundreds of tickets This continues, Vaz said. Vaz was responding to queries from transport owners during a retreat hosted by the Transport Authority at the Moon Palace Hotel in Ocho Rios, St. Ann, on July 13. Those drivers that used to do what they did without any sanctions because the system was broken, this new system will account for them and will deal with them in the way that they ought to be dealt with. They have caused chaos. They have wreaked havoc on the roads without any sanctions. The time for sanctions is here, and they will be implemented, the minister said. He noted that while there are some implementation challenges with the new Road Traffic Act, they are being addressed. The minister assured transport operators that issues in the sector will not be fixed overnight, but once we have the plan and the will to do so, we will do it. Meanwhile, Vaz encouraged transport operators to consider electric vehicles as an option in the future as they are known to be efficient. You need to start thinking and looking in relation to electric vehicles because they are coming, they are here, and they'll become more dominating. And the bottom line is that they're more efficient, he said. As part of the retreat, transport operators from across the island met with the minister, representatives from the ministry and the Transport Authority personnel. A steering committee was also established during the proceedings. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.